Hello, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Justice for All. On the last episode, we continued on with our trial by talking with Powers again, who immediately remembered something about the victim, or about the bellboy that he saw. The fact that they were wearing gloves didn't help. The fact that he brought something out of the room, of Corda's room, and then handed it to whoever was in Enguarde's room also didn't help, but he never saw the person that was in the room, so we started saying that it was Adrian, which caused her to take the witness stand. And she testified about what was inside the said item, which happened to be the figurine we found at Enguarde's mansion. Turns out it was a jewelry box that was also a puzzle. When we opened it up, we found Celeste's suicide note, which really looks really bad for Enguarde. However, we're just trying to stall at this point, so we pointed out that who knows if it's real. We don't know if that suicide note was real or not, so we had to get it analyzed. While this is happening, Gumshoe started trying to find out where Maya was. Mia showed up, having gone into Maya's body, and gave a couple of information that she had, including the fact that apparently Maya was next to the Big Berry Circus. It's very big circus. So Gumshoe headed over there, missed the killer, but managed to grab a couple of items that he left behind. Unfortunately, it sounds like on the way here, he got into a car accident. So we told Edgeworth that Francisca might be able to find out where he is, since she bugged him. So on this episode, we are heading back inside the courtroom, and there are no more recesses, because the judge doesn't want that. So we're gonna find out once and for all, what can we possibly do to get Maya back, but still get Enguarde found guilty if possible. So, here we go. Court will now reconvene. I assume both sides are ready. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Oh boy, they both don't look great. I wonder if it's because of Gumshoe. Edgeworth might be because of Francisca, or Edgeworth might also be because of that note, since the handwriting had to be analyzed. I can understand the defense acting like this. However, why do you also seem distraught, Mr. Edgeworth? That is... It's nothing, Your Honor. What's wrong with Edgeworth? It looks like something unexpected just happened to him. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please tell the court the results of the handwriting analysis on Miss Impact's suicide note. Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we have discovered that the suicide note is a forgery. We were just tossing stuff in the dark. Turns out that's actually true. What? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This note was not written by Miss Impact herself. It's a fake. Order! 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 Mr. Edgeworth, would you care to explain what is going on? If this was not written by Miss Impacts, then who wrote it? We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears that the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Corda. Mr. Corda? Well, well. It looks like Miss Impacts never left the suicide note after all. She never wrote anything about Enguarde. However, Your Honor, even though the suicide note is indeed a fake, Mr. Enguarde could not have known that, and so that fact remains unchanged. That facts remain unchanged. Acting under the assumption that it was real, he had plotted to possess it. That does sound very plausible. This theory that Enguarde had no idea that the suicide note was fake. Something seems a little wrong with it. Present evidence, back down. Well, this actually helps. We can use this to our advantage. Let's present something. The defense believes that the theory the prosecution has stated contradicts testimony. If everything the prosecution has proven up to this point is true, then it's impossible for Mr. Engard to have not known it was a fake. Because, as Edgeworth pointed out, the room was bugged. So let's present that camera. What is this little item called again? A video camera, Your Honor. Well, a very small one, but... Oh, that's right, a camera. Ah, you kids and your fancy toys nowadays. It's 2018, Judge. Mr. Edgeworth, earlier you claimed that Mr. Engard knew of the existence of this note because he was spying on the victim. Isn't that right? If that were true, then this means Mr. Engard would have known that the victim had forged the note. Ah! Oh boy, here we go. I'm sorry, Edgeworth. We're gonna have to take this little weakness you have in your armor. So then, the defendant knew that suicide note was a fake. And if that's true, then the situation has suddenly changed in a very dramatic way. Exactly, Your Honor. The prosecution's theory as to what Mr. Engard's motive for murder was, it has suddenly disappeared into thin air. But Your Honor, it's not as if Mr. Engard monitored Mr. Korda 24 hours a day. Perhaps the victim wrote the note in a place Mr. Engard didn't know of. Well, right back at you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't you show us some proof that the victim made the forgery at an unknown place? Sorry. I know we're being buddy-buddy now, but I really have to use this advantage to stall. You know. Order! 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 Mr. Edgeworth, it looks like this time it is you who has dug his own grave. As I figured. Huh? As you figured. As I figured. It came down to this after all. Mr. Edgeworth, you are not making any sense. When I heard the results of the handwriting analysis, I thought this might happen. The question is, what next? What next? If the prosecution can't prove Mr. Engard's motive through the evidence, then we must prove it from another angle. Well, I agree with you there. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call a witness to the stand at this time. Oh, well, that's fine. However, this witness is a little unusual. Edgeworth's stuttering. This is not like him at all. Also, unusual witnesses, that's our forte. Unusual? Well, what sort of witness is this person, Mr. Edgeworth? This witness is one who is perfectly fit to answer once and for all the question of, who was it that hired Shelley the Killer to commit murder? That's impossible! Who in the... knows this person exists who can answer that question with such certainty? Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. Who is this witness? It is. It's... Yes, go on. Who is it? The man himself, Mr. Shelley the Killer. Oh, Mr. the Killer. Wait! Shelley the Killer! You mean the killer? I mean the assassin. Yes, Your Honor. He's coming here, to the witness stand. Well, yes, in a matter of speaking. I recognize that this is a very unusual circumstance, so I ask for your permission. Well, Mr. Wright? Yes? Is this all right with you? Do I have a choice here? Also, if you're bringing the witness here, I mean, if you're bringing in the killer here, why not arrest him? Can't really do much else to drag this trial out. Well, I mean, actually, this doesn't work for us either, because if he gets arrested, what about Maya? The defense has no objections, Your Honor. I wonder if it really is all right to do this. Very well, then. The prosecution calls its witness to the stand. Edgeworth, is there no other way left to us? Now then, witness. Your name and, your occupation, please.
Very good, sir. My name is Shelley the Killer, and I am a professional assassin.
I say! What is going on here? Your Honor? How can you remain so calm? And what is the meaning of this two-way radio? Actually, Your Honor, it was delivered to me just now, and it came with a condition. As long as we do not trace its source, Mr. the Killer will testify to this court. So this must be what that urgent phone call he got earlier was about. And this totally explains why an assassin's allowed to come into a courtroom to testify, despite the fact we know they're an assassin, because he's not actually here. Oh no, this will not do. I cannot allow this in my court. Judge, you had a parrot last game. First of all, we can't even be sure this is really Mr. the Killer himself. Witness, please present some sort of proof that you are, in fact, Shelley the Killer.
I understand. Please wait a second. I'm so hungry.
Maya! Maya! A voice! Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this? Oh boy, the judge and everyone in this courtroom don't know that Maya is kidnapped. The defense has no objections to this person. We are satisfied that this man is indeed Shelley the Killer. It looks like we have run into yet another unexpected turn of events. Yeah, this is a bunch of turns, huh, Judge? Well, it doesn't seem like we have too many choices under these circumstances, so... Now then, witness. There is one thing I would like to confirm before we speak of anything else.
And what would that be?
At the request of a client, you killed Mr. Juan Corda. Is this correct?
It is as you say. I did indeed kill Mr. Corda.
Gulp. Judge is like, this guy is real. Now that we have answered that, let's move on to the name of your client.
Very well.
This is all just a bad dream. Yes, that's it. A bad dream. Shelley the Killer. What is he going to say? Also, Phoenix is the one with the bad dreams. All right, we're testifying against the radio about my client.
There's something I must first state. To an assassin, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. And that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand. It is my wish that you grasp this concept before I give the name of my client.
Mr. the Killer seems to be a very clever man. I'd almost say he seems to be mocking us. While he may appear to be our enemy, Your Honor, Mr. the Killer is only stating the truth. He is no hypocrite. He has always stood by this one belief. You mean about this trust between his clients and himself thing?
It seems to be a level of trust beyond what people like me can comprehend.
Well, because you're no killer, Judge.
As far as we know. Well, Mr. Wright, are you ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. There's no way to know what's coming next, so stay cool and collected, Phoenix. Well, here's the issue. He wants us to get the not guilty verdict. So we don't. If he tells the truth, he's gonna blab. But he wouldn't do that because of this trust thing. So let's start off by this. Let's start off by expanding on this whole trust thing. The trust between you and your client.
I provide my services in a fast and efficient manner. In exchange, I trust that my clients are discreet about me and my identity. If too many people knew my face, it would be quite troublesome.
Well, once again, Powers, you're doomed.
And that is why you're testifying in this manner. This is the first time one of my clients has ever been accused of murder. I must preserve the killer names so my clients can trust me.
But couldn't someone stab you in the back and break your trust?
It has never happened before, but if it ever did...
Yes?
That person wouldn't be my client for very long. They would certainly... That's enough! Please! No more! Very well. It was only a hypothetical anyway.
So you break his trust, he's gonna break your neck. Alright. Express the statement. That seems a little strange to me. I mean, you're about to tell us the name of your client. I would think that this would be very bad for them.
It doesn't matter to me. This client has already broken the rules and acted outside of their prescribed role. Their role? This person tried to implicate another of the crime in order to save themselves. And this is a trespass that cannot be forgiven. You. Who gave you the right to be so high and mighty?
He did, when he started killing.
To the gentleman who spoke just now, excuse me, but would you care to die? No, I didn't say anything.
The judges better watch himself. Don't talk back to an assassin. All right, so before we do that, yeah, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. He stated it was a hypothetical, but then he just told us that they already broke the rules. So let's go back to this. The trust between you and your client. All right, we already heard this. I'm sorry, but I was wondering about something you just said. You said that your client had already broken the rules.
A person who frames another is the worst kind of human.
And that's why you feel you can betray this person.
I have no trust relation with a client who can't understand their assigned role.
Just my luck. An assassin with a conscience. Who would have figured?
Now then, everyone, do you think you can understand my logic?
This case just keeps getting better and better.
If you can't, then I'm afraid we can't proceed.
Everyone understands your point, I think. Really.
In that case, I believe I am prepared to disclose the information you seek.
You have made it crystal clear that you value trust over else. Over all else, I believe we are ready.
Excellent. And that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand.
Let's press this. That seems a little strange to me. I mean, you're about to tell us the name of your client. I would think that this would be very bad for them. It doesn't matter to me. Oh, hold on. We've already done this one. This is the third one. I forgot. It didn't automatically take us to the one he just added. I don't really care about all this extra fluff. Just tell us the name already. Patience. Try to calm down a little. It's important to try and understand his mindset. He seems very steadfast and closed, so you're going to have to work to get him to talk. I'm not his therapist, you know. Wait, he should have added something there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess we press this. What is it? No, I can't bring myself to ask the client's name.
If you can't ask it, Mr. Wright, then I will.
Witness.
What is the name of your client who requested the murder of Mr. Juan Corda?
That person's name is... Adrian Andrews.
What? Everyone said it.
Witness! That's not who you told me it was earlier.
Pray tell, what are you talking about, Mr. Prosecutor? I should think I know my own client, and it is Adrian Andrews.
What?
The killer, you are a godsend, except this is also bad.
This can't be. On the phone earlier.
What's going on here? My guess is that Mr. the Killer just stabbed Mr. Edgeworth in the back. Stabbed Edgeworth in the back? You know, metaphorically, not physically, Phoenix. I'm sure in order to get an audience with this court, Mr. the Killer told him a different name. Matt Engard, perhaps. I knew it.
This is outrageous. I was deceived. This witness is telling a very serious lie. But you are the one who summoned this witness. You, Shelly the Killer.
My testimony is the truth. The defendant at the moment is Matt Engard, am I correct? All I wish to do is help procure his acquittal.
Of course. This is why that's why he's saying it's Adrian. Wow. All of a sudden, it feels like we can actually win this. Yeah. I mean, it came from the murderer's mouth.
The prosecution has failed to provide a motive, and has instead provided this suicide note, which is a forgery created by the victim. Furthermore, there is a possibility the defendant himself knew it was a fake. But most definite of all, we have heard from the assassin himself the name of his client. Mr. the Killer's client who requested the murder was not the defendant at all. No. With all this evidence, it is obvious to me that this means that Mr. Matt Engard is innocent.
I seem to have caused you all a bit of confusion. Please, continue your discussion and call me when you have reached a verdict.
Bailiff! Please bring Miss Adrian Andrews in immediately.
What now? With the way this is going, Engard will be found innocent. This may be our last chance to save Maya. Yeah. But Edgeworth is right. The killer is lying. And Engard, my client, I know he is guilty. Phoenix, shh, the judge is right there. I mean, you can't see him in his seat currently for some reason. Can I live with myself if I win this?
Who would have believed that the prosecution's own witness would absolve the defendant? Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to further question the witness. Shelly the Killer is certainly lying under oath.
It wasn't me. Listen, everyone, please. That testimony just now, it was all one big lie. Miss Andrews. The suicide note may have been a fake, but that man, Matt, he's the reason Celeste died. And Juan's death, it was all because he got pulled into Matt's twisted world. That testimony just now, you have to believe me. It was a horrible, horrible lie.
But Mr. the Killer himself has testified. He has named you as his client.
No, that's not true.
Also, there is quite a bit of evidence that points to you. The knife and button, donning the nickel samurai costume.
But that's...
You even have a motive. We know that Miss Celeste Intact was a large part of your life. You wanted to follow her, and you wanted revenge against the two who hurt her. I would say you have plenty of reasons to want them both dead.
No. Mr. Wright! You know the truth. Tell them. Tell them the real story. Who the real killer is. Tell them! Please. Help me. Yes. I know the truth.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe we have reached the end of this trial. Therefore, I ask the defense for any final words or opinions.
I have to decide. Do I take the not guilty verdict and save Maya? Or do I throw this chance away and wait for Gumshoe's new evidence? What am I supposed to do? Request the verdict, request the trial continue. This is a case where you could choose either option. This really comes down to how bad do you want to be? This is like a morality system here. One of them is obviously the correct choice. So we're doing that one because I don't think I can live with myself if I choose request the verdict. We need to request that the trial continue just a little longer. We don't need to take the easy way out by throwing Adrian to the wolves, literally. Ugh. Phoenix. I can't do it, Mia. I can't accept the not guilty. You are a lawyer. I know. But Matt Engard is a killer. A murderer. I can't let him get away with this. I can't let someone else take the fall. If I let Miss Andrews be convicted, then I'm no better than Engard. And even though I don't want to admit it, I have to face the fact that it is because of Edgeworth that I now know the real truth. He could have gotten Engard convicted so many times over, but he never took a single one of those chances. If I take this verdict right now, I'd be betraying his trust. His trust? I never thought about it until now. I trust him? Yes, you do.
Mr. Wright, your opinion, please.
The defense requests that we be allowed to further question Mr. the Killer.
Am I hearing you correctly, Mr. Wright?
Right.
But, that witness has cleared your client through his testimony. Your job here is done.
I'm not done yet. To see through witnesses' lies and find the truth. That is my job, Your Honor. There's still more evidence to look at. And I'm sure that once those pieces arrive here in this very courtroom, a miracle will occur. Oh, let's not flub yet.
Very well. The trial will continue. Mr. Edgeworth, please reestablish connection with Mr. DeKiller.
Right away, Your Honor.
Has a verdict been reached?
Ooh, he's not gonna like this.
Before that, we would like to talk with you a little more.
About? All you need from me was the name of my client. What else could you need me for?
Well, actually, we would like to hear everything you know about this case. That is how things are usually done.
What is he talking about? Usually done?
But what shall we have him testify about now? Mr. DeKiller, if you don't mind, please testify about your client in more detail.
You legal people and your procedures. Is it any wonder no one likes to go to court?
Lana's sitting in the audience somewhere. Granted, she actually wanted to come here because she wanted to be a witness.
As I've already stated quite a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime, while pretending to be the first person to discover the body and enter the scene. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Cordo was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button. That act is what I was referring to when I said my client had broken the rules.
This is a most unexpected turn of events. For the, 5th time now? However, this time, everything has finally been revealed.
Oh, Judge, just buckle your seatbelt.
Just a second, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. We still have the cross-examination to do. But you don't need to question testimony like this. Do you, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, the defense will question the witness. As if I have a choice here.
Huh? Why? What this witness has said is nothing but beneficial to the defense's case. If you scrutinize the testimony, then
I'll expose the lies in that oh-so-beneficial testimony, I suppose.
I don't understand what's going on anymore.
Oh, poor Judge. That makes two of us. Surely the killer is not gonna like this. Especially because he has a big contradiction in his testimony already. So let's head to it. Right here. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Cordo was dead. If that was true, why bring the wine glass? With her fingerprints on it. That just hurts her case. Thank you so much for taking the time to testify, Mr. DeKiller.
What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that attitude?
When Adrian Andrews entered the victim's room, your client had no idea that Juan Cordo had been murdered.
But how? How do you know that?
From this wine glass, Your Honor.
The glass.
Mr. DeKiller's supposed client thought Mr. Cordo had only fainted. Which is why this glass of tomato juice was poured for the victim.
But isn't that just a part of Adrian Andrews' calculated plan?
That is not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planned, they would never have left their fingerprints behind.
I see your point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion?
Strangely enough, I had the same exact thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon?
Isn't it a waste of time to ask about such a minor detail? It's not a very important point anyway, correct?
Ah, Shelley, you're going against Edgeworth. I'm afraid you are mistaken. If Adrian Andrews really is your client, as you claim, then your client should have acknowledged Mr. Corrida's death. If not, then that can only mean that Adrian Andrews was never your client at all.
How strange.
Yes?
Why is it that the attorney is there to raise an objection at this absurd situation?
Phoenix, if the killer figures out what we're up to, we're in real trouble. Yeah, I know. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm surprised. Phoenix is like, oh yeah, I should totally act. We can't have the killer notice that we're going against him right now, otherwise he'll do something with Maya. Probably kill her. You know you can't say things like that without any evidence. Ah, sorry. Edgeworth, you don't act well, do you?
Well, that was an awfully weak objection for the two of you.
Anyway, I am positive there was a contradiction in that testimony. There it is! Found it! How long ago was it when Edgeworth was like, people who use the word anyway never have a strong argument. And here it is. I thought since that episode when it didn't happen immediately after that, it was fake. I'm so glad it's not. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken.
Very well.
Right now, I have to buy us more time while we wait for the items the killer left behind to get here. Yeah, speaking of which, the killer's still on the run, and yet he's doing this interview with us. I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies with those items. Request taking.
This request came to me, about a week ago. It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory and I believe I've made no mistakes.
So you physically met your client, huh?
That is correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
All right, we need to find the truth, but we also need to make it look like we're just helping build the case a bit. So let's start by pressing. Ooh, we got the Allegra version of the theme. Is this Allegra or is this modern? I never remember what the name is. Anyway, what bar? So you physically met Adrian Andrews, right?
Of course I did.
What was that? What was with that brief pause? Press it further. Let it go. Press it further. Witness! I would like for you to give us a few more details.
I always meet my clients as a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail.
And why is that?
That's because I value the trust between a client and myself above all else. And the only way to establish that is to speak to the client while looking them in the eye.
Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance?
It was very important. It was not important. Actually, wasn't really that important, so let's go with that. Makes no sense. Why he meets his clients is not important. And that wasn't the point. Witness, please stop sidestepping my questions.
What do you mean by that?
My question was, did you really meet Adrian Andrews in person?
I have already told you, Mr. Wright. I did. It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. That's when I thought, I can trust this person as a client.
It's true what they say about talking face to face. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance?
It was incredibly important. If I heard what I think I heard just now, then I think I've got him. Your Honor, I believe the testimony just now was of the utmost importance.
Huh. Really? If that's the case. Witness, please include the statement just now in your testimony.
Very well. From the moment I saw him, I thought, I can trust this person as a client.
I don't know what pronouns Adrian uses, but, you know, for the sake of this game, she's pretty sure Adrian's a woman. It says an intelligent woman who seems to have it all together. So, is it the name that threw you? Because Adrian's a pretty masculine name? You thought to use the word him? I would like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at a bar and took the request at that time.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's when you thought he was trustworthy.
How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct.
I'm sorry, but that is an impossible tale.
What?
Shelly the Killer. You have never met the real Adrian Andrews.
Why would you say that?
Because you made one very big slip-up. About her.
So what is the issue? What did you say just now? About her.
If you had ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you that she is a woman.
Oh!
And the radio broke.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this?
This witness testified to the following: that he always meets face-to-face with his clients when taking their request.
But he's never met Adrian Andrews in person.
Yes, Your Honor. That is exactly the point. That means Mr. the Killer's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews.
Ah,
No, he's sweating oil! Even the radio needs to be, I don't know, concerned bit.
Mr. Edgeworth, I understand your logic on this one. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake?
I believe it has to do with her name, Your Honor.
Her name?
Just like case one, an issue with the name.
Yes, Adrian Andrews is without a doubt a very androgynous name. I see.
Unluckily for Mr. the Killer, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Adrian Andrews' gender. And so he simply picked the wrong gender to go with. Way to assume her gender!
What? What is going on? Shelly the Killer! This court demands an explanation.
Poor the Killer.
I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another.
So does that mean you remember something different now?
Yes, of course. Please, if you would allow me to testify once more.
Ugh, I know he's just going to spit out more lies.
Very well, but this time, please give us the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Before we find out that truth, however, we're going to call the episode here. So, as far as I'm aware, there is only one testimony left, and it's the one we're about to do. But we're going to save this for next episode because despite this being the last testimony, there's a lot that happens after it. So, on the next episode of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Justice for All, the final episode, we are going to get to the end of this trial and get a verdict, whether that be guilty or not guilty. We'll see. So, until next time, hopefully you enjoy.